Welcome, dear listener, to a journey through the ancient sands of time, where history, mythology, and the whispers of a long-lost civilization intertwine. Before we begin our story tonight, let us ease into a state of deep relaxation. Take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for just a moment. And now exhale softly. Feel the tension drift away as you release the day's worries. Focus now on your toes. Let them relax, sinking softly as though resting on warm, sunlit sand. Feel this soothing sensation rise gently up your legs, into your knees, and all the way to your hips. With each breath, imagine yourself lying under a starlit sky as the calm breeze of the Nile carries you further into peace. Now, as your body unwinds and your mind begins to drift, we'll step together into the mystical world of ancient Egypt, a land of pharaohs and pyramids, of gods and sacred creatures, of power and mystery. Let the rhythms of this ancient land guide you into a tranquil, dreamlike state. Imagine the glowing sun setting over the golden sands of the desert. In the distance, the majestic pyramids rise, eternal and unyielding, their silhouettes painted against the fiery horizon. Our story begins thousands of years ago, at the height of one of the most powerful civilizations in human history. Egypt, the land of the Nile, where the gods walked among men, and where the line between the earthly and the divine blurred like the shimmering mirage on a hot desert day. Here, the great pharaohs ruled, their names etched in stone for eternity. But Egypt's history is not just one of kings and conquest. It is a tale of profound belief in the unseen, of cosmic order and chaos, of life and death, and life beyond death. Let us start our journey at a pivotal moment in Egypt's history, the time of Ramses III. A fierce defender of Egypt, Ramses faced a formidable enemy, the mysterious Sea Peoples. As they descended upon the empire's shores, he employed cunning tactics to protect his land and people. But as victories were won and the sun rose and set over the battlefield, Egypt's destiny continued to unfold, revealing moments of glory, challenge, and profound transformation. Feel yourself being carried along the timeless current of the Nile as we delve deeper into the chapters of Egypt's history and the stories of its gods. Historical events and political landscape. Drifting back in time, we arrive at a critical moment in Egypt's history, a time of upheaval and challenge. The year is approximately 1175 BCE, and the Egyptian Empire stands at a crossroads. The land of Egypt, cradled by the life-giving Nile, was no stranger to invaders. But this time, the threat came from a mysterious and formidable force, the Sea Peoples, a coalition of seafaring raiders and warriors whose origins remain shrouded in mystery. Some say they came from distant lands across the Mediterranean, seeking new homes in the wake of famine or collapse in their own regions. To Egypt, they were harbingers of chaos, an existential threat to the stability of the empire. Ramses III, the last of the great warrior pharaohs, rose to meet this challenge. His reign was defined by his relentless determination to protect his kingdom. The sea peoples descended upon Egypt's shores, their ships crowding the delta waters, their warriors threatening to overrun the land. But Ramses, a cunning and strategic leader, would not let his nation fall so easily. With brilliant tactics, he lured the invaders into narrow channels and marshy terrain, where their mobility was hindered. His forces attacked with precision, using guerrilla-style maneuvers and the natural landscape to their advantage. The result was a decisive victory. The sea peoples were vanquished, their ships destroyed, their warriors scattered. Ramses III's triumph secured Egypt's borders, at least for a time, and preserved its sovereignty. Yet, even great victories come at a price. The conflict drained Egypt's royal treasury, leaving it perilously depleted. Resources that once supported grand building projects and lavish courtly life were diverted to the war effort. In the wake of these economic strains, history witnessed a striking first: the world's earliest recorded labor strike. Artisans and builders working on royal tombs in Deir el-Medina, unpaid and hungry, laid down their tools in protest. They demanded the wages and provisions they were owed. It was a poignant moment, one that symbolized both the resilience of the Egyptian people and the cracks beginning to form in the foundation of the mighty empire. Ramses III had defended Egypt's borders, but the cost of doing so reverberated throughout the land. And so, the reign of Ramses III, while marked by great victories, also signaled the start of a slow unraveling. The echoes of this triumph and its toll would ripple through the centuries to come, as Egypt entered a period of struggle and change. Decline of the Egyptian Empire. As the sun set on the reign of Ramses III, the Egyptian Empire found itself standing at the precipice of change. The victory against the Sea Peoples had been hard-won, but the scars of that conflict lingered, and cracks began to appear in the once unshakable foundations of the empire. The challenges began at the very top, with the royal succession. Ramses III's successors faced turmoil from the outset. The throne, once the symbol of divine stability, became a seat of contention. Courtly intrigue, rivalries, and disputes among heirs weakened the authority of the pharaohs. As rulers came and went in quick succession, Egypt's central government faltered, its grasp on power slipping like grains of sand through an open hand. In this time of uncertainty, another force began to rise, a power rooted not in the palace but in the sacred temples of the gods. The priests of Ammonius, particularly those based in the city of Thebes, grew increasingly influential. The god Ammonius, once a relatively minor deity, had ascended to the position of supreme god of the pantheon, merging with the sun god Ra to become Ammonius Ra. His priests, guardians of vast temple complexes like Karnak, wielded both spiritual and earthly power. Over generations, their wealth and influence rivaled that of the pharaohs themselves. With the weakening of the central government, the priests stepped into the void, taking control of lands, resources, and the loyalty of the people. While they claimed to act in service of the gods, their rise created a subtle shift in the balance of power, one that eroded the unity of the Egyptian state. It was a delicate dance of authority. Pharaohs still wore the double crown, symbolizing their rule over Upper and Lower Egypt, but their grip on the throne was increasingly tenuous. The influence of the priests, particularly in Upper Egypt, challenged the once absolute power of the monarchy. This duality, pharaohs in the palace and priests in the temples, introduced a fragmentation that would come to define the empire's decline. The pharaohs struggled to reassert their authority, but without the resources or unity of earlier generations, their efforts were fleeting. The Golden Age of Egypt, marked by monumental construction, military might, and centralized power, was beginning to fade. And yet, even as the empire faltered, the people's faith in their gods remained steadfast. They continued to turn to Ammonius and other deities for guidance, clinging to the spiritual traditions that had sustained them for centuries. And so, Egypt moved closer to an age of division and change, where its once mighty empire splintered into regions ruled by competing factions. This was the beginning of the Third Intermediate Period, a time of fragmentation, adaptation, and survival. The Third Intermediate Period. As the grand days of Egypt's unified empire faded into memory, the nation entered a new chapter, a time of division and decentralization known as the Third Intermediate Period. This era, spanning several centuries, was marked by the fragmentation of power. Egypt, once a cohesive and mighty kingdom, found itself divided into two distinct regions. In the south, Upper Egypt came under the control of the powerful priests of Ammonius, based in the sacred city of Thebes. In the north, Lower Egypt was ruled by a series of secular leaders, often military commanders who governed from the city of Tanis in the Nile Delta. This separation was not just geographical but symbolic. The unity that had once defined Egypt's golden age had splintered, leaving a nation governed by competing factions. Each region sought to preserve its own traditions and authority, creating a patchwork of rulers and policies rather than the centralized power of earlier dynasties. Amidst this division, a new group rose to prominence: the Libyans. For generations, Libyan tribes had lived along Egypt's borders, some even serving as mercenaries in the Egyptian army. Over time, their leaders began to integrate into the political and cultural fabric of the nation, gaining influence and power. One of the most notable figures from this period was Shoshenq, a Libyan ruler who ascended to the throne and founded the 22nd dynasty. Known as Sheshonq in Egyptian inscriptions, he worked to reunify parts of the fractured kingdom. Shoshenq's reign was characterized by military campaigns and efforts to restore Egypt's fading glory. He is perhaps best remembered for his campaign into the ancient Near East, where he sought to reassert Egyptian influence in territories long lost to foreign powers. His victories, recorded on temple walls, echo the ambitions of earlier pharaohs, though the scale of his achievements could not compare to the conquests of Egypt's past. Despite their foreign origins, the Libyan rulers embraced Egyptian traditions. They honored the gods, commissioned grand temple renovations, and presented themselves as legitimate heirs to the throne. This blending of Libyan leadership with Egyptian culture symbolized both the adaptability of the nation and the challenges of maintaining its identity amidst changing times. While the Third Intermediate Period may not have had the monumental achievements of Egypt's earlier eras, it was a time of resilience. The people of Egypt, though divided by geography and politics, continued to uphold their faith, traditions, and connection to the Nile. It was a land adapting to a new reality, a nation no longer at the height of its power, but still deeply rooted in the rhythms of its ancient culture. And so, the third intermediate period came to reflect the enduring spirit of Egypt, even in times of fragmentation. As the years passed, new leaders and foreign powers would step onto the stage, shaping the nation's destiny in unexpected ways. Nubian domination. As the third intermediate period unfolded, Egypt found itself looking southward to the land of Nubia, a region with a rich and ancient history of its own. The kingdom of Kush, with its capital at Napata near the fourth cataract of the Nile, had grown into a formidable power. Its rulers, the Kushites, shared a deep connection with Egyptian culture, one that would shape a pivotal era in Egypt's history. Nubia and Egypt had been linked for centuries by trade, war, and shared traditions. The Nile, their lifeblood, flowed through both lands, carrying goods, ideas, and beliefs. The Egyptians had long regarded Nubia as a source of gold, ivory, and skilled archers. But by the time of the third intermediate period, the roles began to shift. Nubia was no longer a land to be conquered. It was a rising power ready to assert itself on the world stage. It was Kashta, a Kushite king, who first made significant inroads into Egyptian territory. Kashta saw an opportunity amidst Egypt's fragmentation and established a foothold in the southern region of Upper Egypt. But unlike many conquerors, Kashta sought not to impose his own culture, but to align himself with Egypt's traditions. He embraced the Egyptian gods, particularly Ammonius, whose worship was central to both Kushite and Egyptian society. Kashta's adoption of Egyptian religious practices legitimized his rule in the eyes of the people, bridging the divide between the two cultures. Kashta's son, Pi, would take his father's vision even further. A powerful and pious leader, Pi marched northward, uniting a fractured Egypt under his rule. His campaign, recorded in a monumental inscription known as the Victory Stela, described not just military conquest but a divine mission to restore Ma'at, the ancient Egyptian concept of cosmic order and justice. Pi's respect for Egyptian culture was profound. He performed rituals in Egyptian temples, restored sacred sites, and styled himself as a traditional pharaoh, wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. Under his reign, Kushite rule was not seen as foreign domination but as a continuation of Egypt's storied past. The Kushites brought with them a fresh reverence for Egyptian traditions. They revitalized temple-building projects, re-established ceremonies that had waned during Egypt's decline, and brought a sense of renewal to a weary nation. Their rule was a testament to the enduring power of Egypt's culture to inspire and unify, even under foreign leadership. The Nubian rulers left a unique legacy, a period where Egyptian and Kushite traditions blended seamlessly. It was a union of two cultures bound by their shared worship of the gods, their reverence for the Nile, and their belief in the eternal rhythm of life and death. Though their dynasty would eventually give way to new powers, the Kushite pharaohs demonstrated that Egypt's influence extended far beyond its borders, inspiring leaders and shaping civilizations far to the south. With the passing of the Kushite dynasty, Egypt would once again face new rulers and new challenges. From the rise of Psamtik I to the eventual conquest by foreign empires, the story of Egypt's resilience and adaptation would continue. The Late Period. As the sands of time continued to shift, Egypt entered a new chapter, one that would be marked by both resurgence and challenge. This was the Late Period, a time when the nation, battered by centuries of division and foreign rule, sought to reclaim its former unity and strength. At the heart of this resurgence was a determined leader, Psamtik I. Emerging from the city of Sais in the Nile Delta, Psamtik I rose to power in a fractured land. Through strategic alliances and a careful balance of diplomacy and military force, he achieved what many thought impossible, reunifying Egypt under a single banner. Psamtik I's reign marked the beginning of the 26th dynasty, often called the Sate dynasty. He worked tirelessly to restore order and stability to a divided Egypt. Recognizing the importance of both tradition and innovation, he embraced Egypt's ancient heritage while introducing reforms that would strengthen the nation for the challenges ahead. One of Psamtik's key strategies was the integration of foreign mercenaries into the Egyptian military. Greek and Carian soldiers, skilled in combat and strategy, were recruited to bolster Egypt's defenses. This collaboration marked one of the earliest known interactions between Greece and Egypt, setting the stage for cultural exchanges that would resonate for centuries. Psamtik's legacy of stability was carried forward by his son, Necho II, a pharaoh with grand ambitions for Egypt. Necho is perhaps best remembered for his bold military reforms and groundbreaking projects that sought to position Egypt as a dominant force in the region once again. Necho II reorganized the Egyptian military, enhancing its naval capabilities. He oversaw the construction of a powerful fleet, a necessity for defending Egypt's borders and asserting control over vital trade routes. His vision extended beyond Egypt's shores, and under his leadership, Egypt became a significant maritime power in the eastern Mediterranean. But Necho II's ambitions were not confined to military might. He embarked on a project that could have transformed the ancient world, an attempt to connect the Nile River to the Red Sea through a canal. Though the canal was never completed in his lifetime, it demonstrated the pharaoh's foresight and desire to make Egypt a hub of commerce and power. Necho II's reign also saw Egypt's involvement in the broader geopolitics of the Near East. His forces clashed with the Babylonians and other emerging powers, showcasing Egypt's determination to remain a key player on the international stage, even as new empires rose to prominence. The Late Period was a time of renewal, where leaders like Psamtik I and Necho II sought to breathe new life into an ancient civilization. Through reunification, military innovation, and visionary projects, Egypt displayed a remarkable resilience, a determination to adapt and endure even in the face of mounting challenges. Yet, the sands of history never ceased to shift. New powers, from the Persians to the Greeks, would soon cast their gaze toward Egypt. The nation, though reinvigorated, was entering the final chapters of its ancient story. The Persian conquest. As Egypt's Late Period unfolded, its leaders worked tirelessly to preserve their sovereignty. But the world beyond Egypt's borders was changing rapidly. with new powers rising to dominance. Among these powers were the Persians, whose empire stretched across vast swaths of the known world. In 525 BCE, under the leadership of Cambyses II, the Persian Empire turned its attention to Egypt. Cambyses II, the son of Cyrus the Great, sought to bring the land of the Pharaohs into the fold of the Persian Empire. What followed was a decisive invasion that marked a turning point in Egypt's long history. The Persian invasion was swift and strategic. Cambyses II led his army across the Sinai Desert, employing careful planning and the support of local allies to overcome the harsh terrain. His forces clashed with the Egyptian army near Pelusium, a key city in the eastern delta. The battle was fierce, but the Egyptians, led by Pharaoh Ramses III, were ultimately defeated. The loss marked the end of native Egyptian rule, as Cambyses II marched triumphantly into Memphis, the ancient capital. With this victory, Egypt became a satrapy, a province of the vast Persian Empire. Though Cambyses II is often remembered as a conqueror, his rule in Egypt was marked by an unusual respect for its traditions. Unlike many invaders who sought to impose their culture on the lands they conquered, the Persians took a different approach. Cambyses II, like his father Cyrus, understood the value of respecting the customs and beliefs of the people under his rule. In Egypt, Cambyses participated in religious ceremonies and presented offerings to the gods. He ordered the restoration of temples and even adopted the title of pharaoh, aligning himself with the nation's ancient traditions. His actions, though likely pragmatic, helped to legitimize Persian rule in the eyes of the Egyptian people. Subsequent Persian rulers, such as Darius I, continued this policy of cultural integration. Darius commissioned major construction projects, including temples and canals, further demonstrating his commitment to preserving Egypt's heritage. Under Persian rule, Egypt maintained much of its cultural identity, even as it operated within the framework of a larger empire. For the Egyptian people, Persian rule was a period of adjustment. The invaders had brought change, but they also allowed Egypt's ancient traditions to endure. Temples continued to hum with the chants of priests, festivals celebrated the gods, and the Nile's eternal rhythm sustained the land as it always had. Yet, beneath the surface, the spirit of Egypt remained unbroken. Even under foreign rule, the people held onto their identity, finding ways to adapt while preserving the essence of their culture. This resilience would become a defining feature of Egypt's story in the centuries to come. But history is never still, and Egypt's place within the Persian Empire was not destined to last forever. A new power was rising to the west, a force led by one of history's most legendary figures. The arrival of Alexander the Great would once again reshape Egypt's destiny, bringing Macedonian influence to the land of the Pharaohs. Macedonian and Hellenistic influence. As the sun began to set on Persian rule in Egypt, a new force rose on the horizon. A young king from Macedonia, whose ambitions would carve his name into the annals of history. Alexander the Great, known as much for his military genius as for his vision of unity, turned his attention to the ancient land of the Nile in 332 BCE. Egypt, weary of Persian rule, opened its arms to the Macedonian conqueror. To the Egyptian people, Alexander was not just a foreign leader. He was seen as a liberator, a figure who would restore Ma'at, the divine order, to their land. Alexander's arrival in Egypt was swift and relatively peaceful. The Persians, weakened by internal struggles and Alexander's previous victories in the east, offered little resistance. As Alexander marched into Memphis, he was greeted not with hostility but with reverence. The priests, nobles, and common people recognized him as a powerful new force, and one who respected their traditions. At the Temple of Ptah, Alexander was formally crowned as pharaoh. He embraced the rituals and titles of Egyptian kingship, aligning himself with the gods and presenting himself as the rightful ruler of the land. To the Egyptians, this act was not merely symbolic. It was a reaffirmation of their ancient beliefs and their place in the cosmos. One of Alexander's most enduring contributions to Egypt was the founding of a new city on the Mediterranean coast, Alexandria. Positioned near the western edge of the Nile Delta, this city was designed to be a hub of commerce, culture, and knowledge, a meeting point for East and West. Alexander's vision for Alexandria extended beyond its physical architecture. He sought to create a city where Egyptian traditions and Greek innovation could coexist, fostering a cultural fusion that would shape the region for centuries. Although Alexander would not live to see the city's full potential realized, Alexandria would become one of the most influential cities of the ancient world, home to the Great Library of Alexandria and the renowned lighthouse, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Throughout his time in Egypt, Alexander demonstrated a deep respect for its traditions. He visited the Temple of Ammonius at Siwa Oasis, where he was declared the son of Ammonius, a title that further legitimized his rule in the eyes of the Egyptian people. This journey to Siwa was not just a political gesture. It was a moment of profound spiritual significance for Alexander, who believed in his divine destiny. By embracing Egypt's religious and cultural heritage, Alexander ensured a smooth transition of power and preserved the nation's identity. The temples continued to honor the gods, the priests retained their authority, and the timeless rituals of the Nile remained uninterrupted. After Alexander's death in 323 BCE, his empire was divided among his generals, and Egypt fell under the rule of Ptolemy Isoter. This marked the beginning of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a period where Greek and Egyptian cultures intertwined to create something entirely unique. The Ptolemies continued Alexander's policy of respecting Egyptian traditions, even as they introduced Greek art, philosophy, and governance. Pharaohs of the Ptolemaic era were depicted in both Greek and Egyptian styles, reflecting their dual heritage. Temples were constructed in honor of both Greek and Egyptian gods, symbolizing the harmonious blending of 2 great civilizations. This fusion of cultures left an indelible mark on Egypt, shaping its identity long after the Ptolemies gave way to Roman rule. The city of Alexandria remained a beacon of knowledge, art, and innovation, a testament to Alexander's vision and the enduring resilience of Egyptian culture. As Egypt entered a new era under the shadow of Rome, the echoes of its ancient past remained strong. From the unyielding sands of the desert to the flowing waters of the Nile, Egypt's story is one of continuity, adaptation, and eternal wonder. As we journey through the history and mythology of ancient Egypt, let us take a moment to pause, to connect with ourselves and find peace in the present. Close your eyes if you haven't already, and allow your body and mind to relax. Let the stories of Egypt fade for now, like the gentle ebb of the Nile, and focus instead on the flow of your breath. Breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. Let the rhythm of your breath become your anchor. Steady and calm. Inhale deeply, drawing in peace, and exhale, releasing tension. With every breath, feel yourself becoming more grounded, more at ease. Picture the golden sands of Egypt, warm and timeless, stretching endlessly beneath a clear blue sky. Imagine the cool, refreshing waters of the Nile flowing gently, bringing life to the land and soothing your spirit. Now, we will journey through your body, releasing tension and inviting relaxation to every part of you. Start with your toes. Feel them soften and relax, as if they're sinking into soft, warm sand. Let that feeling of ease travel upward to your feet, your ankles, and your calves. Feel your legs growing heavy, supported by the earth. The muscles in your thighs loosen, and your hips sink deeper into comfort. Now, bring your awareness to your back. Picture any tightness melting away, like morning mist dissolving in the sun. Let your shoulders drop, releasing any burdens they may be carrying. Move to your arms. Let the tension in your biceps and forearms dissolve, and feel your hands grow soft and warm. Even your fingers, down to the very tips, relax completely. Finally, bring your attention to your neck and face. Let the muscles in your neck and jaw unclench. Your cheeks and forehead soften. Even the space around your eyes feels light and free. You are now completely relaxed, your body at ease, your mind calm and open. Take a moment to enjoy this stillness, this peace. You are safe. You are calm. You are at peace. If your thoughts wander, gently guide them back to the present. Focus on your breath. Steady, slow, and soothing. Breathe in deeply and exhale completely. With each breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into tranquility. As you rest in this serene state, let us return to the timeless land of ancient Egypt, where history and myth intertwine, and where the stories of a remarkable civilization await to carry you even further into relaxation and wonder. Egyptian deities and mythological creatures. Ra and Apophis, eternal battles between cosmic order and chaos. Beyond the pages of history lies a world shaped by the imagination of the ancients, a realm of gods, monsters, and eternal struggles. For the people of Egypt, this mythical landscape was not separate from their daily lives but intertwined with the natural world, the cosmos, and their understanding of existence itself. At the heart of this vast pantheon stands Ra, the sun god and creator, whose daily journey across the sky symbolized life, renewal, and the triumph of order over chaos. But even Ra, the most powerful of deities, faced an unending struggle, a battle waged in the darkness of the underworld, hidden from mortal eyes. Each day, Ra sailed across the sky in his solar bark, bringing light and life to the world. As the sun set and the horizon darkened, his journey continued into the Duat, the Egyptian underworld, a perilous realm filled with spirits, trials, and a formidable foe, Apophis. Apophis, or Apep, was no ordinary adversary. A colossal serpent born of chaos itself, Apophis sought to devour the sun and plunge the cosmos into eternal darkness. Every night, as Ra traveled through the Duat, the serpent would rise, twisting and coiling, to block his path. This was a battle not of mere strength but of cosmic significance. The eternal struggle between Ma'at, the principle of truth and order, and Isfet, the force of chaos and destruction. The battles between Ra and Apophis were epic in scale, filled with tension and drama. Apophis's body, immense and glistening, could stretch across the horizon, while his hiss was said to shake the heavens. Yet Ra was never alone in his fight. Aboard the solar bark, a retinue of gods and spirits stood ready to defend the sun god. Among them was Seth, the god of storms and strength, who wielded a spear to pierce the serpent's scaled hide. Night after night, Seth and Ra's other companions drove back Apophis, ensuring the sun would rise again, bringing light to the world and reaffirming the cosmic balance. To the ancient Egyptians, the battles between Ra and Apophis were more than stories. They were profound allegories of the human experience. Apophis represented the chaos and uncertainty that threatened the harmony of life, while Ra symbolized resilience, renewal, and the power of light to overcome darkness. Even when Apophis seemed to grow stronger, swelling with each failure to consume the sun, Ra and his allies never faltered. This unyielding persistence mirrored the cycles of nature, the turning of the seasons, and the unbreakable spirit of the Egyptian people. The Egyptians believed that their own actions could aid Ra in his nightly battles. Priests recited spells, performed rituals, and burned effigies of Apophis to weaken the serpent and ensure Ra's victory. In their eyes, the sun's rising each morning was not merely a celestial event, but a triumph of collective effort and divine power. This daily renewal, this cosmic victory, served as a reminder that no matter how great the darkness, order and light would always prevail. And so, the cycle continued day after day, night after night. Ra's journey, fraught with danger yet unceasing, was a reflection of life itself, a path of trials, resilience, and renewal. To the Egyptians, this eternal struggle was not a cause for despair, but a source of hope, a testament to the enduring power of Ma'at over the forces of chaos. Even now, as we gaze upon the same sun that once inspired these ancient myths, we are reminded of their timeless wisdom, that through courage, determination, and unity, we too can overcome the Apophis in our lives. Ammut, the devourer of impure hearts, symbolizing moral justice. In the halls of eternity, where mortal deeds are weighed against cosmic truth, one figure looms in the shadows, waiting silently. Ammut, the devourer, is a creature of terrifying beauty and unyielding justice. Part lion, part hippopotamus, and part crocodile, Ammut is a fusion of the most fearsome beasts of the natural world, a living embodiment of consequence and divine retribution. She is not a god but a force, a guardian of balance who ensures that Ma'at, the eternal order, is upheld in both life and death. Every soul that departed the mortal world was believed to journey to the Hall of Two Truths, where its fate in the afterlife would be decided. Here, in the presence of Osiris, the god of the dead, the soul's heart, the seat of emotion, thought, and morality, was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the symbol of truth and justice. If the heart was light, free of sin and dishonesty, the soul was granted entry into Aru, the field of reeds, a paradise of eternal peace. But if the heart was heavy, burdened with wrongdoing, it was cast down to Ammut, who waited patiently beside the scales. Ammut's presence was not one of malice but necessity. Her role was to devour the hearts of those deemed unworthy, ensuring that they could not pass into the afterlife. To the Egyptians, this fate was the ultimate punishment, not merely death, but the annihilation of the soul, a complete and eternal separation from existence. In this way, Ammut symbolized the inescapable reality of moral justice. No wealth, no power, and no clever words could save a soul whose heart was heavy with guilt. Only a life lived in harmony with Ma'at could guarantee passage into the afterlife. Though Ammut was a figure of fear, she also served as a reminder of the moral order that governed the universe. Her role was not to punish arbitrarily, but to ensure fairness and balance. To those who lived righteously, she was not a threat, but a silent protector of the sacred equilibrium. Ammut's image was often depicted in tomb paintings and funerary texts as a warning and a guide, a reminder to live with integrity, to honor the gods, and to respect the laws of Ma'at. She was both the shadow at the edge of the scales and the guardian of the justice they upheld. The story of Ammut is one of accountability, a lesson whispered across millennia. It tells us that every action, every thought, carries weight, and that the legacy we leave behind is shaped by the choices we make. Even now, the tale of Ammut resonates, a timeless reminder that justice, though fearsome, is also fair, and that the scales of truth will always balance in the end. Bennu, the symbol of rebirth and inspiration for the phoenix. Among the myths and symbols of ancient Egypt, there is one that stands as a beacon of hope, a radiant emblem of rebirth and immortality. This is Bennu, the heron-like deity whose shimmering form rose from the waters of creation. The Egyptians revered Bennu as a being of extraordinary power, a symbol of regeneration and the eternal cycles of life, death, and renewal. It is said that from Bennu's myth emerged one of the most enduring symbols in human imagination, the legendary phoenix. Bennu was closely associated with the creation myth of ancient Egypt. According to the Heliopolitan cosmogony, Bennu emerged at the dawn of time, alighting upon the primordial mound that rose from the chaotic waters of Nun. Its song, clear and resonant, was said to have set the rhythm for the birth of the world, its call echoing the harmony of creation. As the sacred bird of Ra, the sun god, Bennu was a manifestation of light, vitality, and divine inspiration. Its flight across the skies mirrored the daily journey of the sun, while its return to its perch symbolized the sun's rebirth each morning. Bennu was not merely a symbol of creation but of renewal, a force that reminded the Egyptians of life's eternal cycles. Like the Nile, which rose and fell to sustain the land, Bennu embodied the idea that endings were not final but preludes to new beginnings. It was believed that Bennu periodically renewed itself, much like the phoenix of later myths. When the time came, the bird would burst into flames and rise again from its own ashes, a radiant testament to the power of transformation and continuity. Though the Bennu was uniquely Egyptian, its legend traveled far beyond the sands of the Nile. In later cultures, its story evolved into the myth of the phoenix, a bird that lives for centuries before perishing in fire and being reborn from its own ashes. The phoenix became a universal symbol of immortality and renewal, a testament to the enduring power of the Bennu's myth. Even today, the phoenix's story inspires us, reminding us of the strength to rise from adversity and the promise of a new beginning. To the Egyptians, Bennu was more than a myth. It was a symbol woven into the fabric of their lives. Temples dedicated to the sun god Ra often included imagery of Bennu, its long neck and radiant plumage serving as reminders of the divine presence. The bird was also linked to the idea of the Ka, the life force, and the eternal journey of the soul. Its association with the sun and the afterlife made it a guiding symbol for those seeking renewal in this life and the next. The story of Bennu is timeless, carrying a message of hope and transformation. It tells us that no matter how dark the night, the sun will rise again, and with it, the promise of a new day. Through the ages, Bennu's song has echoed in countless cultures, its message resonating with those who seek to rise above challenges, to renew themselves, and to embrace the beauty of life's endless cycles. Serpopard and Griffin, representations of chaos and protection. In the rich tapestry of ancient Egyptian mythology, not all creatures were gods or guardians of the afterlife. Some stood as enigmatic symbols of the forces that shaped existence, both destructive and protective. Among these are the Serpopard and the Griffin, two hybrid creatures whose presence reflects the delicate interplay between chaos and stability. The Serpopard, a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the elongated neck of a serpent, is a striking fusion of two powerful beasts. Its depiction in Egyptian art is rare but captivating, often seen in ceremonial contexts such as on the Narmer palette, one of the earliest records of Egyptian civilization. The Serpopard is believed to symbolize chaos and untamed forces, wild energies that existed beyond the orderly boundaries of Ma'at, the cosmic balance central to Egyptian belief. Its sinuous neck and feral body evoke the unpredictable nature of the wild, a reminder of the ever-present threat of disorder lurking at the edges of civilization. Though the Serpopard represented chaos, its portrayal often served a dual purpose. By including it in art and ritual, the Egyptians sought to symbolically tame and control these forces, reinforcing their dominion over the chaotic realms of nature and spirit. In this way, the Serpopard was not merely a threat but a challenge, a force to be acknowledged, confronted, and ultimately mastered to maintain the order of Maya. Standing in contrast to the chaotic serpopard is the griffin, a creature of strength and vigilance. With the body of a lion and the head of a falcon, the griffin was a powerful symbol of divine justice and protection. In Egyptian art, the griffin often appears as a servant of Horus, the falcon-headed god of kingship and the sky. Its fierce gaze and noble form reflect its role as a guardian of sacred spaces and royal power. The griffin's dual nature, combining the agility of the falcon and the might of the lion, made it an ideal protector, a force of order capable of vanquishing any threat. To the Egyptians, the griffin was more than a mythical creature. It was an emblem of protection and authority. Temples and tombs often featured depictions of the griffin, its presence a reassurance that divine justice watched over both the living and the dead. The griffin's protective nature extended to its association with royalty. As a symbol of strength and vigilance, it embodied the ideals of kingship, ensuring that the pharaoh's rule was in harmony with the divine. Together, the serpopard and the griffin illustrate the Egyptian understanding of balance. Chaos and order, destruction and protection. These forces were not isolated but interconnected, each giving meaning to the other. The serpopard reminded the Egyptians of the need to guard against chaos, while the griffin offered reassurance that divine order would always prevail. Through these creatures, the Egyptians expressed their belief in the eternal struggle between Ma'at and Isfet, balance and disorder. Even today, the stories of the serpopard and the griffin resonate. They remind us that life is a delicate balance, a dance between chaos and stability, and that in the face of disorder, the forces of protection and justice will always rise to restore harmony. As we drift deeper into the mysteries of ancient Egypt, let these creatures guide us, a testament to the enduring wisdom of a civilization that saw the world not as fixed, but as a dynamic balance to be nurtured and protected. Sphinx, guardians of sacred spaces, symbolizing strength and wisdom. Beneath the golden sands of Egypt, one figure stands timeless and unmoving, a silent guardian, a riddle carved in stone. The Sphinx, with the body of a lion and the head of a human, is one of the most enduring symbols of ancient Egypt. Majestic and enigmatic, it embodies strength, wisdom, and protection, watching over sacred spaces and the eternal mysteries of life. In Egyptian belief, the Sphinx served as a sentinel of the divine, standing watch over temples, tombs, and monumental gateways. Its lion's body symbolized unparalleled strength and authority, while its human head reflected intellect and the capacity for wisdom. The Great Sphinx of Giza, perhaps the most famous of all, stands as a testament to this duality. Carved from a single block of limestone, it faces the rising sun, eternally guarding the pyramid complex behind it. Some say it represents the pharaoh Khafre, embodying his power and connection to the gods. The Sphinx was more than a guardian. It was a bridge between humanity and the divine. Its form reminded the Egyptians of the balance needed to maintain Ma'at, the cosmic order. The lion's strength conveyed the might of the gods, while the human face offered the promise of intellect and reason to guide that strength. In this way, the Sphinx symbolized the ideal qualities of a ruler, someone who must wield power with wisdom, ensuring the protection and prosperity of their people. While the Sphinx is predominantly an Egyptian symbol, its influence extended far beyond the Nile. In Greek mythology, the Sphinx took on a more fearsome and enigmatic role. It guarded the city of Thebes, posing a riddle to all who sought to pass. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? Those who failed to answer were said to meet a grim fate. The answer, of course, is humanity, crawling as a child, walking upright in adulthood, and using a cane in old age. Though this version of the Sphinx is different from its Egyptian counterpart, the theme remains. The Sphinx challenges us to seek understanding, to solve the mysteries that define our existence. To the Egyptians, the Sphinx was an unyielding protector of sacred spaces. Whether flanking the entrances of temples or silently standing watch over royal tombs, its presence assured that the divine order would not be disturbed. It reminded all who approached of the sanctity of the space and the power of the gods who dwelled within. Today, the Sphinx remains an enduring symbol of mystery and majesty. Its weathered features bear witness to millennia of history, its gaze unbroken as it watches over the desert and the lives that pass by. The Sphinx reminds us that strength and wisdom must go hand in hand, and that true guardianship comes from understanding the balance between power and intellect. It invites us to ponder the riddles of life, to seek knowledge, and to stand resolute in the face of the unknown. Death and the afterlife. Death as a transition, tombs and funerary practices for the afterlife. In the eyes of the ancient Egyptians, death was not the end. It was merely a transition, a gateway to a new chapter of existence. Life on earth was seen as preparation for the eternal journey of the soul, and great care was taken to ensure that this passage was smooth and secure. To them, the afterlife was not a distant, abstract concept. It was a vivid reality, one that required careful planning and devotion to enter. Rather than fearing death, the Egyptians embraced it as an extension of life itself. The soul, they believed, was immortal, carrying the essence of the individual into a realm beyond the physical. But the afterlife was not granted automatically. It had to be earned and maintained through righteousness in life and meticulous preparation in death. This belief inspired the construction of tombs that were not just places of burial, but eternal homes for the deceased. These structures, from modest mastabas to the grand pyramids, were designed to protect the body and house the soul for all eternity. Egyptian tombs were far more elaborate than the dwellings of the living. Every detail was carefully planned to reflect the deceased's journey into the afterlife. The walls were adorned with vivid paintings and inscriptions depicting scenes of daily life, religious rituals, and the soul's eventual passage into paradise. Inside the tomb, treasures were placed to provide for the deceased's needs. Food, clothing, tools, and even miniature servants called shabti were included to serve the individual in the afterlife. These items were more than offerings. They were a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds, ensuring the soul's comfort and sustenance. To guide the deceased on their journey, texts like the Book of the Dead were included in the tomb. These scrolls contain spells, prayers, and instructions to navigate the challenges of the afterlife, from avoiding pitfalls to successfully answering questions posed by divine judges. Among these texts was the famous Declaration of Innocence, where the soul proclaimed its purity before the gods. I have not committed sin. I have not caused pain. I have not stolen. I have not lied. These words served as a testament to the individual's moral life, a crucial requirement for entry into paradise. Preparing the body for the afterlife was equally important. The practice of mummification ensured that the physical form would remain intact, providing a vessel for the soul to return to. Rituals like the opening of the mouth ceremony restored the deceased's senses, enabling them to speak, breathe, and see in the next world. The heart, believed to be the seat of intelligence and emotion, was carefully preserved, often replaced with a scarab amulet to protect the soul during the final judgment. For the Egyptians, death was not a loss, but a transformation, a passage from the fleeting world of the living to the eternal realm of the divine. Their elaborate tombs, intricate rituals, and heartfelt prayers reflect a deep reverence for life and the belief that it would continue in an even more wondrous form. As we ponder these ancient practices, let them remind us of the universal human desire to leave a lasting legacy, to transcend the physical, and to embrace the mysteries of what lies beyond. The Book of the Dead, a guide for navigating the afterlife. In the vast cosmos of Egyptian spirituality, the journey to the afterlife was fraught with trials and challenges. To assist the soul on its passage, the ancient Egyptians created one of their most remarkable works, the Book of the Dead. This sacred text was not a single book, as we think of today, but a collection of spells, prayers, and instructions tailored to the unique journey of the deceased. The Book of the Dead was more than a guide. It was a spiritual compass designed to lead the soul through the treacherous terrain of the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. The Duat was a realm of transformative power, filled with rivers, gates, and challenges that tested the soul's worthiness. Each spell in the text served a specific purpose, from warding off dangerous creatures to ensuring the soul's safe passage through portals guarded by divine beings. These texts gave the deceased the tools to navigate the unknown and find their way to the field of reeds, the paradise of the afterlife. At the heart of the Book of the Dead lies the Declaration of Innocence, also known as the Negative Confessions. This was a crucial ritual where the soul stood before Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and the 42 assessors of Ma'at, the divine order. The soul would declare its purity, reciting statements such as, I have not stolen, I have not uttered lies, I have not caused pain to another. These proclamations demonstrated the moral character of the deceased, aligning them with the principles of Ma'at, truth, balance, and justice. Only those who upheld these virtues in life could hope to pass into the afterlife. Guided by the Book of the Dead, the soul would eventually arrive at one of the most pivotal moments of its journey, the weighing of the heart ceremony. In this sacred rite, Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification, weighed the heart of the deceased against the feather of Ma'at. A heart free of sin was light and balanced, granting the soul entry to paradise. But a heart heavy with wrongdoing would tip the scales, condemning the individual to be devoured by Ammut, the fearsome creature of judgment. For the Egyptians, this moment was a reflection of their belief in personal accountability. that every action in life carried weight in the afterlife. Each Book of the Dead was uniquely crafted, often tailored to the individual who commissioned it. The texts could include names, specific prayers, and personal requests to the gods, ensuring that the deceased had every possible advantage on their journey. The scrolls were often illustrated with intricate scenes depicting the soul's trials, the gods they would encounter, and the ultimate reward of unity with the divine. These images were more than art. They were visual tools, reinforcing the power of the spells and aiding the soul's memory as it traversed the Duat. Today, the Book of the Dead offers us a profound glimpse into the ancient Egyptian worldview, a society that held unwavering faith in the continuity of existence and the triumph of the virtuous soul. It speaks to their ingenuity, their creativity, and their unshakable belief in a universe governed by balance and justice. As we reflect on these sacred texts, let them remind us of the timeless quest for meaning, the pursuit of truth, and the hope that beyond life lies a greater journey, illuminated by the light of wisdom and the strength of faith. Judgment in the afterlife, the weighing of the heart. In the ancient Egyptian journey to the afterlife, few moments were as significant as the weighing of the heart. This sacred ceremony determined whether the soul was pure enough to enter paradise or doomed to face obliteration. The event took place in the Hall of Two Truths, a grand and sacred space presided over by Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and Marat, the goddess of truth and cosmic order. It was here that the soul faced its ultimate test, a judgment that was both impartial and absolute. At the center of this ritual stood Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification and protector of the dead. With steady hands and an impartial gaze, Anubis guided the proceedings, carefully placing the heart of the deceased on one side of the sacred scales. On the other side rested the feather of Marat, a symbol of truth, justice, and balance. The scales, perfectly calibrated, would reveal the truth of a person's life. A heart unburdened by sin would balance against the feather, signifying a life lived in harmony with Maat's principles. Before the weighing, the deceased would recite the Declaration of Innocence, a profound affirmation of their moral integrity. Standing before 42 divine assessors, each representing a specific aspect of cosmic order, the soul would proclaim, "I have not lied, I have not stolen, I have not caused pain, I have not polluted the waters of the Nile." These declarations were both a reflection of the individual's moral life and an invocation of Maat's divine truth. The outcome of the weighing determined the soul's fate. If the heart was light, balanced perfectly with the feather, the soul was deemed pure and worthy of entering the field of reeds, a paradise where the joys of earthly life were magnified and eternal. But if the heart was heavy, weighed down by guilt and wrongdoing, the consequences were dire. Ammut, the fearsome devourer of the dead, awaited nearby. This part lion, part hippopotamus, part crocodile creature consumed the heavy heart, condemning the soul to eternal destruction, erasing it completely from existence. This finality reflected the Egyptians' profound belief in accountability, that every action, word, and thought carried weight, not only in life but in the eternal realms beyond. Overseeing the ceremony was Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom and writing. Thoth meticulously recorded the results, ensuring that the judgment was fair and that no detail was overlooked. His presence was a reminder that truth and precision were integral to the fabric of the universe. At the heart of the weighing of the heart ceremony was the concept of Ma'at, a principle that governed every aspect of Egyptian life, from personal ethics to the movements of the stars. To align with Ma'at was to live a life of balance, harmony, and righteousness. For the ancient Egyptians, this ceremony was more than a test. It was a reflection of their deepest values, a reminder that life's actions echo beyond the grave, and that true immortality comes from living in accordance with divine truth. The feather of Ma'at, the measure of a soul. In the sacred ceremony of judgment, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, a moment of ultimate truth. Ma'at, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic balance, was not merely a deity. She embodied the principles that sustained the universe itself. Her feather, light and unyielding, represented the purest form of balance and morality. The feather of Ma'at was not chosen arbitrarily. In its simplicity, it symbolized the delicate equilibrium that governed all things. The Egyptians believed that the heart, the seat of emotion, thought, and moral character, must remain as light as the feather to prove that the soul had lived a life aligned with Ma'at's principles. A heart untainted by lies, cruelty, or selfishness would balance perfectly. But a heart weighed down by greed, deception, or harm would tip the scales. A visual and spiritual manifestation of a life out of harmony with divine truth. In the Hall of Two Truths, Anubis carefully placed the heart on one side of the golden scales. Opposite it, the feather of Ma'at rested, its presence both serene and resolute. The room, filled with the quiet yet watchful presence of the gods, seemed to hold its breath as the scales tilted. For the deceased, this was the culmination of their earthly journey, a lifetime of choices laid bare in the purity or weight of their heart. The gods did not judge arbitrarily. The scales reflected the truth, unembellished and undeniable. When the heart balanced with the feather, it signified a soul that had lived with integrity and righteousness. Such a soul was granted access to the field of reeds, a verdant paradise where the joys of life were eternal. But if the scales tipped under the weight of a heavy heart, Ammut, the devourer of the dead, waited with unwavering patience. For the Egyptians, there was no greater fear than to have one's soul consumed, erased from the cycle of existence. This fate was not punishment in the conventional sense, but a natural consequence of failing to uphold the principles of Ma'at. The scales of Ma'at served as a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. To live in harmony with Ma'at was to contribute to the balance of the universe. The Egyptians understood that every action, thought, and word had a ripple effect, influencing not just their lives but the fabric of existence itself. As the scales settled, so too did the fate of the soul. For those who achieved balance, their journey continued into eternity, guided by the light of truth and the strength of virtue. Now, as we journey through the wisdom of ancient Egypt, let us also journey inward, toward the sanctuary of your own peace. Close your eyes and allow yourself to drift deeper into comfort. It's time to let go of any tension you may be holding. Let's begin the process of progressive relaxation, focusing on each part of your body in turn, helping it release and unwind. First, bring your awareness to your breathing. Breathe in deeply and exhale slowly. Again, take a deep breath in. Feel your chest rise gently and let it go. As you breathe, notice how your body begins to soften, like sand being smoothed by the gentle ebb and flow of the Nile. With every breath, you are drawing in calm and releasing tension. Now, bring your attention to your feet. Feel the weight of your feet against the surface beneath you. Let your toes relax one by one. Feel that relaxation spreading to the arches of your feet, the soles, and your heels. Now, let that wave of relaxation travel upward. Your ankles soften. Your calves feel lighter. And your knees release any tension they may be holding. Your thighs, strong and supportive, begin to loosen, sinking into stillness. With every breath, your legs grow more and more relaxed, as though they are floating in the cool waters of the Nile. Shift your focus now to your torso. Feel your lower back sink deeper into support. Any tension you've been carrying there begins to melt away, like ice touched by the sun. Your stomach softens, releasing any tightness. Your chest, open and expansive, moves gently with your breath. The muscles along your spine let go of their burdens, one by one, allowing your entire back to rest fully. Feel this sense of release, as though your body is exhaling along with you, letting go of anything it no longer needs. Now, bring your awareness to your arms. Let them grow heavy and warm, resting effortlessly at your sides. Your shoulders, so often the carriers of the day's tension, begin to drop, releasing their weight. Your upper arms soften. Your elbows relax. And the calm flows down through your forearms. Feel the relaxation reach your wrists and hands, spreading to each finger until your hands feel completely at peace. Notice how your arms feel lighter now, as though they are drifting on a gentle breeze. Finally, turn your attention to your neck and head. Feel the muscles of your neck loosen, releasing any stiffness. Your jaw relaxes, your cheeks soften, and even the tiny muscles around your eyes let go. Your forehead becomes smooth and serene, and the crown of your head feels light, as though touched by a soft, golden glow. Imagine any remaining tension evaporating, rising like mist in the morning sun. Now your entire body is at ease. From the tips of your toes to the top of your head, you are completely relaxed, completely safe, and completely at peace. As you rest here, allow yourself to simply be. There is no need to do anything, no need to think or worry. Just breathe and enjoy this moment of profound stillness. Rituals and cultural practices. Mummification, preserving the body for eternity. In the eyes of the ancient Egyptians, the body was not just a vessel for the soul, but an essential part of its eternal journey. To ensure the soul's survival in the afterlife, the physical form had to be preserved with meticulous care. This process, known as mummification, was not merely a funeral custom. It was a sacred art, a bridge between the mortal world and eternity. The Egyptians believed that the soul was composed of several parts, including the Ka, the life force, and the Ba, the personality or individuality. These elements needed a preserved body as a home base, ensuring that the soul could continue its existence beyond death. Without this physical anchor, the journey to the afterlife would be incomplete, and the soul would face eternal unrest. The act of mummification was a profound ritual, guided by priests who treated the body with reverence and precision. Each step was imbued with symbolic meaning, ensuring that the deceased would be fully prepared for their eternal voyage. The process began with the purification of the body. Priests washed the deceased with water drawn from the Nile, a sacred source of life. Once cleansed, the body underwent the careful removal of internal organs. The heart was traditionally left in place, as it was considered the seat of thought and emotion, essential for the weighing of the heart in the Hall of Two Truths. The organs, except the brain, were preserved separately, often placed in canopic jars, each guarded by a protective deity. The body was then dehydrated using natron, a natural salt that removed moisture and prevented decay. For 40 days, the body lay in this desiccating embrace, gradually transforming into a preserved state. Once fully dehydrated, the body was wrapped in layers of linen. This phase was more than a practical measure. It was a spiritual act. Priests recited sacred incantations as they wound the fabric around the body, embedding protective amulets within the layers. These charms, inscribed with prayers and symbols, offered guidance and protection for the journey through the afterlife. The final layer was sealed with resins and oils, creating a durable barrier against decay. A death mask, often gilded and intricately decorated, was placed over the face, ensuring that the soul could recognize its body in the afterlife. With the mummification complete, a final ritual was performed, the opening of the mouth ceremony. This act, carried out by priests or a close family member, symbolically restored the deceased's senses, enabling them to see, speak, and breathe once more. The priest touched the mouth of the mummy with a ceremonial tool, reciting prayers to awaken the body's connection to the soul. Mummification was more than an act of preservation. It was a declaration of faith in the eternal. Each step, from purification to the final burial, was a testament to the Egyptians' unshakable belief in the afterlife, a realm where life's beauty and joys endured forever. For the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end but a transformation, and mummification ensured that this transformation would be complete. The art of mummification, step by step. To prepare the body for eternal life, the ancient Egyptians began by carefully removing the internal organs, as these were most susceptible to decay. Using delicate tools, priests performed the sacred incisions, always adhering to ritual protocols to ensure the body's sanctity. The liver, lungs, stomach, and intestines were removed and preserved separately. Each organ was placed into a canopic jar, crafted with lids representing the 4 sons of Horus, protective deities assigned to guard the organs. Imsidi, the human-headed guardian, protected the liver. Hapi, with the head of a baboon, safeguarded the lungs. Duamutef, the jackal-headed protector, watched over the stomach, while Kabesanuf, with a falcon's head, protected the intestines. Curiously, the brain was considered unnecessary for the afterlife. It was extracted through the nostrils using a hooked tool and discarded. The heart, however, was typically left in place, as it held immense significance in the judgment process. In rare cases, a heart scarab, a protective amulet, might be substituted if the original heart was damaged or missing. The next stage was dehydration, a critical step in halting the natural process of decay. The body was covered entirely in natron, a naturally occurring salt harvested from the desert. This powerful desiccant drew out moisture from the body, leaving it dry and preserved. For 40 days, the body remained in this state of transformation, while priests recited prayers to guide the soul on its journey. Time, patience, and ritual combined to ensure that every trace of impermanence was removed, leaving behind a vessel suitable for eternity. With the body now preserved, it was time for the intricate process of wrapping, a task requiring both precision and devotion. The deceased was cloaked in fine linen, layer by layer, each band carefully positioned. The wrapping was far more than a physical process. It was an act of profound spiritual significance. Priests embedded amulets and charms within the layers, each chosen for its protective properties. The Eye of Horus might be placed over the chest to ensure health and restoration, while scarabs, symbolizing renewal, were tucked near the heart. Each layer of linen was sealed with resin, creating a durable shield against the elements. The priests recited prayers and incantations throughout the process, calling upon the gods to safeguard the deceased on their journey through the afterlife. Once fully wrapped, the body was adorned with a death mask. For royalty and the wealthy, these masks were masterpieces of artistry, crafted from gold and precious stones. The mask's purpose was both practical and spiritual. It ensured that the soul could recognize its body, while also presenting the deceased in their most divine and eternal form. The mummy, now prepared, was placed within a series of nested coffins, each more elaborate than the last, and finally laid to rest in a tomb filled with treasures, food, and tools to aid their existence in the field of reeds. Mummification was not simply the preservation of a body. It was the meticulous preparation of a soul's eternal home. Each step, from the removal of the organs to the placement of the final amulet, spoke to the Egyptians' unyielding commitment to balance, order, and the promise of life everlasting. The opening of the mouth ceremony. restoring the senses for eternity. Among the many ceremonies that marked the transition from mortal life to eternity, one stood out as particularly profound: the opening of the mouth. This ancient ritual symbolized the restoration of the deceased's sensory functions, ensuring they could fully experience the afterlife in all its splendor. Performed with great reverence, this ceremony was often the final act before the deceased was sealed in their tomb. It was not merely a symbolic gesture. It was an invocation of divine power, calling upon the gods to awaken the spirit and reconnect it with the body, granting the deceased the ability to see, hear, breathe, and speak once more. The opening of the mouth ceremony was conducted at the entrance of the tomb or in the presence of the mummy, with priests or family members leading the sacred rites. The tools used in the ceremony were carefully chosen, each imbued with spiritual significance. One of the most important instruments was the adze, a tool resembling a small hoe, often shaped to mimic the foreleg of a bull. This design symbolized strength and vitality, qualities essential for the journey to the afterlife. Other sacred items included spoons, incense burners, and purification vessels, each playing a role in sanctifying the ritual space and participants. The priest or officiant, often dressed in ceremonial garments, would begin by reciting incantations to summon the blessings of the gods. These words called upon divine forces to ensure the deceased's successful passage into the afterlife. Next, the priest would touch the tools to the mouth, eyes, ears, and nose of the mummy or statue of the deceased. This act symbolized the reactivation of the senses, allowing the deceased to breathe the pure air of eternity, see the beauty of the field of reeds, hear the prayers of the living, and speak words of gratitude to the gods. Family members often played an essential role in the ceremony, symbolizing their enduring connection to the deceased. They participated in the offering of food, drink, and incense, gifts that nourished and honored the spirit. The priests, acting as intermediaries between the mortal and divine realms, ensured that every movement, word, and gesture adhered to tradition. Their presence guaranteed that the ritual was performed with the precision and sanctity required to bridge the gap between life and eternity. The opening of the mouth ceremony was more than a ritual. It was a reaffirmation of life's continuity. In restoring the senses, the Egyptians believed they were empowering the deceased to fully participate in the afterlife, where they would enjoy eternal happiness and harmony under the watchful eyes of the gods. As the final prayers were spoken and the incense wafted skyward, the deceased was no longer a silent figure wrapped in linen. They had been reborn, their senses restored, ready to embrace the eternal journey ahead. This sacred ceremony, passed down through generations, stands as a testament to the Egyptians' profound understanding of life, death, and the eternal soul. Rituals and cultural practices. Tombs and burial practices, eternal homes for the journey beyond. In the heart of the desert, under the golden sands or carved into the cliffs, lay the tombs of ancient Egypt, eternal homes built not for the fleeting years of mortal life, but for the boundless journey of the afterlife. These tombs were far more than resting places. They were sacred sanctuaries, meticulously designed to guide the deceased through the trials of the underworld and into paradise. From the simple pit graves of early Egypt to the grand pyramids and intricately carved tombs of the Valley of the Kings, burial sites evolved over millennia to reflect the status, beliefs, and aspirations of their occupants. For the pharaohs, tombs were monumental achievements. The pyramids, with their soaring heights and precise geometry, stood as symbols of divine connection and eternal power. In later periods, tombs were carved into the rock, hidden from view to protect their treasures from grave robbers. These structures, adorned with intricate paintings and carvings, were designed to replicate the journey to the afterlife, with walls covered in scenes of daily life, celestial realms, and the protective presence of gods. The Egyptians believed that the afterlife mirrored the joys and challenges of earthly existence. To ensure their comfort, the deceased were buried with an array of treasures and essentials. These included food and drink, bread, beer, fruits, and meats were provided to sustain the soul during its journey. Tools and weapons. Farmers were equipped with plows and tools, while warriors might have shields and weapons to defend themselves in the afterlife. Jewelry and amulets. Adorned with gold, turquoise, and carnelian, these items were not only symbols of status but also carried protective powers. Shapti figures. Small, carved statuettes placed in the tomb. These figures were believed to perform labor on behalf of the deceased in the afterlife. Even everyday items like combs, mirrors, and board games found their place within the tomb, ensuring the deceased had all they needed to live a fulfilling existence in the field of reeds. Before sealing the tomb, priests performed elaborate rituals to consecrate the space and ensure the protection of its occupant. Offerings were made, incense burned, and prayers recited, calling upon the gods to watch over the deceased and their treasures. The tomb, once sealed, became a sacred realm, a bridge between the living and the divine. To deter intruders, many tombs were equipped with symbolic and practical protections. Curses were inscribed upon walls, warning grave robbers of dire consequences should they disturb the resting place. Some tombs featured false doors and hidden chambers, ingenious designs meant to thwart even the most determined thieves. These tombs, whether hidden deep in the earth or standing tall against the horizon, served as eternal testaments to the Egyptian reverence for life after death. They were more than places of burial. They were celebrations of existence, memorials to the soul's journey, and reflections of a civilization that viewed death not as an end, but as the beginning of something greater. Artistic depictions, guiding the soul through sacred imagery. Step into the quiet chambers of an ancient Egyptian tomb, and you'll find yourself surrounded by vivid artistry that seems to pulse with life. The walls, ceilings, and even the floors are adorned with intricate carvings and paintings, each telling a story, offering guidance, and ensuring the safe passage of the deceased into the afterlife. Every brushstroke, every etched line served a purpose. The depictions were not merely ornamental. They were sacred narratives, imbued with profound meaning. Scenes of the deceased's life were meticulously painted alongside depictions of gods, goddesses, and mythological creatures, creating a visual roadmap for the soul. One might see Ra, the sun god, sailing across the sky in his solar bark, illuminating the path for the deceased. Or Osiris, the god of the afterlife, standing at the gates of eternity, offering a welcoming gesture to those deemed worthy. These divine images reminded the deceased of the cosmic forces that govern their journey and their potential place among them. Art was often interwoven with text, creating a powerful combination of visual and written guidance. Passages from the Book of the Dead or other funerary texts were carefully inscribed on walls, sarcophagi, and papyri, detailing the trials the deceased would face and the spells and prayers needed to overcome them. These texts were often accompanied by illustrations that brought the words to life. For example, the weighing of the heart scene was commonly depicted, showing Anubis placing the heart on one side of the scale and Maat's feather on the other, while Thoth recorded the outcome. This iconic image served as both a reminder of divine justice and an instruction manual for navigating the trial. The colors used in these depictions were not chosen at random. They were symbolic and deliberate. Gold, often associated with the gods, represented eternity and divine power. Green, the color of Osiris, symbolized rebirth and fertility. Blue invoked the life-giving waters of the Nile, while red signified energy and protection. Figures were portrayed in idealized forms, emphasizing strength and vitality. Gods and rulers were often depicted larger than life, underscoring their importance, while the deceased was shown engaging in activities they loved or hoped to continue in the afterlife. Dancing, feasting, or tending crops in the eternal fields. Many tombs also featured star charts and celestial maps, reflecting the Egyptians' deep connection to the heavens. The night sky was believed to be a mirror of the afterlife, and these depictions guided the deceased through the celestial landscape, ensuring their safe arrival in the field of reeds. The ceilings of some tombs were painted with images of Nut, the sky goddess, arching protectively over the earth. Stars dotted her body, representing the infinite possibilities of the universe and the promise of eternity. The artistic depictions within Egyptian tombs remain some of the most captivating expressions of humanity's quest for meaning beyond life. These masterpieces, preserved for millennia, continue to inspire awe and curiosity. They remind us of the enduring power of art to transcend time, serving as both a bridge to the divine and a testament to the eternal spirit. Now, as we journey through the mysteries of ancient Egypt, let us pause and shift our focus inward, to the present moment, to your breath, to your body. This is your time, a time to release tension, to let go of the day, and to sink into a deep, restful state. Close your eyes and allow yourself to settle comfortably. Notice the rhythm of your breath as it flows in and out. No need to change it. Just observe it. Feel the coolness of the air as you breathe in, and the warmth as you breathe out. As you breathe in, imagine you are drawing in strength and serenity, filling yourself with a light that radiates warmth and hope. And as you exhale, Let go of any lingering doubts or worries, releasing them into the vast, endless sky above. This moment is yours. A sacred pause in the flow of time. You have faced challenges, overcome hurdles, and arrived here, stronger and more resilient than you might realize. With every breath, you are grounding yourself in a calm, steady center. A place within you that is unshakable, no matter what storms may arise. Know that you are capable, worthy, and enough just as you are. Even in the stillness of this moment, you are moving forward, growing, and aligning with your greatest potential. Life is a journey of transformation, and each breath you take carries you closer to the peace, joy, and fulfillment that await you. The challenges of the past do not define you. They are stepping stones that have shaped your wisdom and strength. In this quiet space, trust that brighter days are on the horizon, and you are ready to meet them with an open heart and a steady spirit. Legacy and continuity. Preserving the ancient spirit, Egypt's living heritage. The sands of time may have shifted, yet the essence of ancient Egypt continues to resonate through the ages. From the language spoken by its people to the traditions and pride carried by its descendants, the legacy of this remarkable civilization has endured, woven into the fabric of modern life. Long after the pharaohs ruled and the temples echoed with prayers to Ra and Osiris, the echoes of ancient Egypt lived on in its language. The spoken tongue of the ancient Egyptians evolved over millennia, transforming into what we now know as Coptic, the final stage of the Egyptian language. Coptic became the liturgical language of the Egyptian Christian Church, preserving the ancient script and phonetics in religious texts and prayers. Though it eventually faded as a spoken language, its continued use in spiritual settings stands as a testament to Egypt's enduring cultural roots. Today, Egypt's connection to its ancient heritage is not just a matter of history. It is a source of immense pride. Events such as the awe-inspiring parade of royal mummies, where ancient kings and queens were honored with a regal procession through the streets of Cairo, highlight the reverence modern Egyptians hold for their ancestors. New museums, like the Grand Egyptian Museum near the Giza pyramids, stand as monumental tributes to Egypt's past, showcasing treasures from tombs and temples to inspire generations worldwide. These efforts reflect a deep commitment to preserving and celebrating the splendor of ancient Egypt for both Egyptians and the global community. The traditions, myths, and symbols of ancient Egypt continue to influence art, architecture, and even modern spirituality. From the iconic imagery of the Ankh, representing life, to the enduring allure of hieroglyphs, the ancient culture still captivates the imagination of millions. Egypt's festivals and customs, too, echo its ancient rhythms. Seasonal celebrations and the reverence for the Nile's life-giving waters serve as reminders of the unbroken thread connecting modern Egyptians to their ancestors. Every archaeological discovery, every fragment of pottery or unearthed tomb, adds another verse to the song of ancient Egypt, a song that continues to be sung around the world. The fascination with pyramids, mummies, and hieroglyphs isn't merely an interest in the past. It is a recognition of a civilization that touched eternity. In the streets of modern Egypt, in the laughter of its people, in the rhythm of its traditions, the spirit of the ancients lives on, a timeless testament to resilience, creativity, and the human desire to leave a mark on the world. A global fascination, the mystique of ancient Egypt. Across the globe, few civilizations ignite the imagination like ancient Egypt. Its pyramids, mummies, and mythology have captivated minds and hearts for centuries, transcending borders and generations to become symbols of mystery, innovation, and spiritual depth. The pyramids of Giza stand as eternal sentinels, guarding the secrets of the past. These colossal structures have fascinated explorers, scholars, and travelers for millennia. Their construction a testament to ancient ingenuity. From Herodotus in antiquity to modern-day tourists, the pyramids evoke awe, not just for their scale but for what they represent. Humanity's enduring quest to reach beyond the ordinary and touch the divine. Their alignment with celestial bodies and the intricate knowledge required to build them leave us marveling at the sophistication of their creators. Few symbols of ancient Egypt capture the imagination like the mummy. Carefully preserved through the intricate process of mummification, these figures serve as windows into a world that viewed death not as an end but as a continuation. The discovery of mummies, particularly those of pharaohs like Tutankhamun, has sparked global fascination. The treasures of King Tut's tomb, uncovered in 1922, set off a wave of Egyptomania, influencing everything from fashion to film. Yet beyond the glittering artifacts, the mummies themselves remind us of the humanity of those who walked these lands thousands of years ago. Their hopes, fears, and dreams sealed within the wrappings of time. The myths of ancient Egypt are woven into the fabric of global culture. Their stories of gods, creation, and the afterlife resonating across the ages. Ra's eternal battle with Apophis, Osiris's resurrection, and the wisdom of Thoth have inspired countless retellings in literature, art, and modern media. These stories speak to universal themes: the struggle between order and chaos, the mystery of existence, and the search for immortality. They remind us that, though separated by time and geography, the questions that define humanity remain unchanged. From blockbuster films to museum exhibits, the fascination with ancient Egypt remains ever present. Pyramids and sphinxes appear in everything from video games to fashion collections, their imagery a shorthand for mystery and majesty. Exhibits of Egyptian artifacts draw millions of visitors worldwide, proving the enduring appeal of this ancient civilization. Whether it's the Rosetta Stone in London, the Golden Mask of Tutankhamun in Cairo, or traveling exhibitions bringing treasures to new audiences, ancient Egypt continues to connect people across the globe. In the end, the global fascination with ancient Egypt is about more than pyramids or mummies. It is about the human spirit, the drive to build, create, and understand our place in the universe. Ancient Egypt offers us a mirror, reflecting not just the past but the potential of humanity itself. And so, as we gaze upon the timeless wonders of this civilization, we are reminded that its legacy is not merely something to study but something to celebrate. a reminder of the greatness we all carry within. Enduring influence, a civilization that shapes the world. Though the pharaohs no longer rule and the sands have covered much of their world, the spirit of ancient Egypt continues to shape our culture, our spirituality, and our understanding of history. It stands as a bridge between the ancient and modern, whispering its wisdom across time. Symbols and ideas from ancient Egypt are deeply embedded in our collective consciousness. The Ankh, a sign of life, the Eye of Horus, a symbol of protection and healing, and the scarab beetle, representing transformation, have transcended their origins to become universal emblems. Art, architecture, and even literature reflect Egypt's enduring mark. Obelisks stand in major cities around the world, from Paris to Washington, D.C., connecting us to a civilization that first raised these monuments to the heavens. The awe inspired by their grandeur and craftsmanship continues to inspire creators, thinkers, and dreamers. Ancient Egypt's deep connection to the divine resonates in spiritual practices today. The concept of Ma'at, representing truth, justice, and balance, echoes through philosophies and religions worldwide, reminding us of the importance of harmony in life and the universe. The Egyptians' profound respect for the soul and the afterlife has shaped our perceptions of mortality and immortality. Their understanding of the eternal journey, encapsulated in rituals, myths, and mummification, continues to inspire both spiritual seekers and scholars. Few places captivate archaeologists and historians like Egypt. The land continues to yield its secrets, each discovery adding another piece to the intricate puzzle of its history. From the Valley of the Kings to newly unearthed tombs and temples, Egypt remains a treasure trove of knowledge, fueling curiosity and wonder. Recent advancements in technology, such as ground-penetrating radar and DNA analysis, have brought new insights into ancient practices, reigniting global fascination. Discoveries of intact burial chambers, golden artifacts, and even ancient cities hidden beneath the sands remind us that Egypt's story is far from complete. Why does ancient Egypt endure in our hearts and minds? Perhaps it is the paradox of its permanence and mystery, a civilization so advanced and yet so enigmatic. Its influence weaves through our world, from our art and language to our quest for understanding the unknown. As archaeologists continue to unearth its secrets, as artists draw inspiration from its symbols, and as people around the world marvel at its monuments, ancient Egypt remains not just a relic of the past but a living force, a testament to the ingenuity and spirituality of humanity. And so, as we come to the end of this journey through the sands of time, let the stories of ancient Egypt rest gently in your mind. From the towering pyramids to the quiet whispers of the Nile, this land of mystery and majesty has shared its wisdom, its struggles, and its triumphs with us tonight. As you drift into sleep, imagine the sun god Ra's journey across the sky, a symbol of renewal and endless possibilities. Picture the stars above the Great Sphinx, eternal and unyielding, watching over the sands as it has for millennia. Feel the calm embrace of this ancient world, where life and death, chaos and order were balanced in harmony. And as you breathe deeply, let the echoes of this ancient land guide you into a space of stillness and peace. Thank you for joining me on this voyage through the wonders of ancient Egypt. May you find comfort in the stories of the past and serenity in the quiet of the present. Good night, and may your dreams be as timeless and tranquil as the Nile.